Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Dylan Talk Sports. My name is Dylan. In this video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about Ohio State's recruiting process and something that a Michigan player, the day after the Ohio State, or well, the day of Ohio State when they lost to Michigan in the game, a Michigan player was kind of talking about what do you think is kind of wrong with Ohio State and why you guys have been beating Ohio State these past 3 years in a row. And he talked about a topic of when it comes to Michigan, a lot of the players that they are recruiting are players that are from Ohio players, people that want to play for Ohio State. And Ohio State, they're going down a path of where they are recruiting guys that are more 5-star, prima donnas, and basically just guys that are kind of more of the stars and the guys that want to go get the NIL money, whereas Michigan is recruiting the players that are big time, just want to play with heart, and they want to just go play some football. When I first saw that, I was like, that's bullshit. This is Michigan players just got to shut the hell up. But then I started thinking about it, and then I started doing some digging, and then I started realizing, holy shit, he's right. So what we're going to do is I'm going to kind of very briefly kind of go through, show you guys the recruiting stats for Ohio State this year, the last year, kind of the years going forward, and kind of show you guys the players that Ohio State is recruiting versus the players that Michigan is recruiting, and then kind of give you guys the understanding of why that Michigan player said what he said. So without further ado, as always, if you're going to enjoy, make sure you do drop a like. And without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, as you can see, we're on 247 Sports, basically like the whole recruiting page for all college football. You can see here, this was 2022, just as a kind of a reference. And 2022 probably is right now our kind of sophomores of this year in 2023. They are the kind of the players that we're going to be going off of. Ohio State, number 4 in the whole entire country when it comes to recruiting. Michigan, number 9 in the entire country. When it comes to Ohio State, we have 2 5-stars, 18 4-stars. When it comes to Michigan, 1 5-star, 9 4-stars. Let's go back to 2021. You can see right here, 2021. Let's look at here. We have Ohio State, number 2 in the country with 7 5-stars, right behind Alabama, 14 4-stars. When you're looking for Michigan, they're down here at 13 with 1 5-star and 11 4-stars. We got this upcoming year's recruiting class. We got Ohio State once again up there in the top 3, number 2. 5 4-stars right now and 14 4-stars. Now, obviously, I think there's a few other players that are going to be committing over the next couple weeks, so we got some time from the time recording this. But then let's roll down. Let's see if we can find Michigan. They're all the way down here at 15. No 5-stars, but 17 4-stars. But they also have 8 3-stars. When you look at Ohio State, only 4 3-stars. I guess the thing that's kind of being said about Ohio State right now is they have a great recruiting staff. They know how to recruit players. The problem is once they get them into the building, they're having trouble developing these guys, which doesn't make sense because you have already Larry Johnson, a great D-line coach. You got Brian Hartline, great wide receiver coach. But their big problem, is they are trying to build the trenches. That defensive line, that offensive line, they're struggling. That was kind of some of the weaknesses over the past few years, which doesn't make sense when you have almost every single player on the defensive line is being said to be drafted within this year or next year in the NFL draft. And then the offensive line, I believe already 2 guys got drafted last year, and I think another guy is going to be drafted this year. And then going forward next year, I think somebody else is going to be drafted offensive line. So it doesn't make sense how they struggle so much, but then when it comes to the draft, it's like, oh yeah, they're going to get drafted. When it comes to Ohio State's upcoming recruiting class, these right here are all the players that are going to be coming in. Obviously, we already know about Jeremiah Smith, great, talented wide receiver. We already know about Aaron Nolan. He's going to be a great quarterback coming in, where some people were saying, fingers crossed, he starts next season. I don't think it's going to happen. It's either going to be McCord or Devin Brown or maybe a transfer. Aaron Nolan's probably going to sit for his freshman year. We got a couple of big-time players. The problem I am seeing with this team is we need to learn how to develop. That kind of boils down to that. Like, you see all these 5-stars and 4-stars, which there's nothing wrong with getting 5-stars and 4-stars. If you can get big-time talent in there and go out and get them out there on the field immediately and let them play, that's great. But Ohio State's problem right now is these players down here that you see, like the 3-stars, the guys that like maybe are not the highly ranked whenever it comes to their position in the entire country, these are the guys that you need to get with them and start developing them. And for all you know, these players could turn out to be a top 15 draft pick in the NFL draft in their respective class. Just to kind of give you an idea of how different Ohio State is from Michigan whenever it comes to the development of kind of smaller players, let's look at Michigan. J.J. McCarthy, 4-star quarterback, but he could possibly be drafted up there in the top 20 of this year's NFL draft. I wouldn't be surprised. Donovan Edwards, I realize he's a 5-star running back, but when he was his freshman year there, he wasn't really doing much. It was his past 2 years where he really showed up. You scroll down the list, like Rod Moore, big time talent. Some of y'all don't know this name here, Andrel Anthony. I think he's still a great talent for when he was recruited. I'm kind of going through here looking at Michigan's recruiting class going all the way back to 2019, kind of looking at players that are in the NFL right now. Daxton Hill, you got Cornelius Johnson, you got Mozzie Smith, you got David Ojabo. Most of these guys are 4 stars, not 5 stars, 4 stars. I mean, hell, you got Quentin Johnson, DJ Turner. Like, you don't need the premier talent to succeed. And a lot of times you see it with some of these schools like Ohio State. Georgia's had this problem. Alabama's had this problem for a long time, where they get so many 5 stars. And then obviously, if you get like 4 or 5 5-star receivers, you can't get them all out in the field in their freshman year. And whenever they don't get any playing time, then it's like they're just like, fuck this, I'm going somewhere where I can actually play. And also something that I'm noticing with a lot of these Michigan players, look at where they're recruited from. Akron, Ohio, Fairfield, Ohio. Like, you're going to be getting a lot of guys. Cincinnati, Ohio, Lakewood, Ohio, Columbus, Ohio, Clayton, Ohio. These dudes are not like you would think Ohio State players or Ohio State recruits are going to want to obviously go to Ohio State. Michigan recruits or players are going to obviously want to go to Michigan. I know I kind of just rambled a lot in this video, but I'm going to kind of break it down by saying this. Ohio State, their big problem is they are losing a lot of recruits that want to come to Ohio State by going, and they're giving these guys like the 5-star recruits that are from California and Florida and Georgia and Texas, these big time NIL deals, which, don't get me wrong, if they are a great player and they're going to pan out and they're going to help win football games, sure, you give them the NIL, you give them the opportunity to come play for Ohio State. But if they're not going to have the heart and they don't understand, I think, the rivalry whenever it comes to Ohio State, Michigan, that's kind of their problem of why they're also losing to Ohio State's also losing to Michigan. Because I believe it was Urban Meyer or somebody, I forget who said it, but somebody kind of explained the whole reason why Ohio State has been losing the past few years. Because a lot of these recruits that are coming to Ohio State are not from Ohio. Like I said, they're from California and Florida and Texas and all over the country. Not a lot are from in the state of Ohio. And if you don't believe me, look right here. Jeremiah Smith, he's from Florida. We got Georgia. We got Indiana. We got one dude from Ohio, Aaron Scott. I think he could be another Denzel Burke variation corner. Aaron Nolan, he's from Georgia. We got Missouri. We got Texas. Like, there's only a few dudes here that are from Ohio. Everybody else, I mean, Tennessee, Texas, Arizona, another Florida. We got a Michigan dude coming down to play for us. I just think whenever it comes to Ohio State going forward and Ryan Day, he needs to focus a lot on his recruiting and the people he picks and chooses to come to Ohio State. Because like that Michigan player said, you look at the players from Michigan and you look at the players from Ohio State. When Ohio State's rolling up, they all got their suits on, they got the chains dripping, and I don't mind that. I mean, if you got the money, you got the drip, go for it. But sometimes it's like when it's the game, the Ohio State players are showing up, they're trying to be all fashionable, they're laughing, they're giggling. Meanwhile, Michigan players, they're walking out there on the sideline and they got they're just showing up respective suits and they're just head down, they're locked in, they're out there trying to play some football and win a game. Meanwhile, you got Ohio State players that are over here just like worrying about, I wonder how many followers I got on Instagram. I think going forward, if Ryan Day can get the mentality and the toughness back in this team, because he said when they beat Notre Dame, this team's tough. Well, Ryan Day, you have 1 year to get this team tough. If you don't, you might be out of a job, because I see a lot of people talking about he's gone like 50-7 in his entire career here in Ohio State. I forget what exactly the record was, but it's like 7 losses across like a 4 or 5 year span. And don't get me wrong, that is great. But there is a reason. I said it already here on the channel. I've said it before. And I keep on trying to give Ryan Day a praise of why he should stay. And it's because of that like big, long record of not losing very many games other than teams like Michigan. And that's the big problem. There was a saying back in the day that said, it doesn't matter if you go 0-11. As long as that last game is a win against Michigan, the season was a success. So Ryan Day, the challenge is up to you. Fix this team and get some toughness back into it, or we're gonna have a problem. But other than that, that's all I gotta discuss for today's video. Hopefully you guys did going to enjoy today's video. If you did enjoy today's video and you stayed to watch to the end, go ahead and drop a big fat like. It'd be very much appreciated if you do so. If you stayed to watch the entirety of today's video, thank you very much. And if you want to go ahead and drop a comment down below on what your opinion is on the whole Ohio State recruiting situation. Do you think they have a recruiting problem? Do you think they not have a recruiting problem? Is there certain recruits that you thought they should have been going after that they're not going after? Like I said, leave your opinion down in the comment section down below. If you're a fan of the content that I do post here and you want to go ahead and hit that big red subscribe button, feel free to do so. And do not forget to hit that little notification bell to be notified the second I post. But without further ado, this has been Donald Talk Sports. Have a great day. Peace.